Hey, what's going on? It is Renegade News Live. We are coming at you from a beautiful summer afternoon. Our weather is finally changing into summer over here in Panama, and it's just a beautiful, gorgeous day. Sun's out, breeze is starting to blow. It's just a super nice day, and it's been a real day. We're going to get into some of that today live. So welcome to us. This is our first broadcast, but we're looking at doing these once a week. And we're going to be talking about everything from, news, opinion, what's going on. We're going to have a crypto chat. We're going to do freedom talks. We're going to do interviews and a whole lot more. So if you don't know me yet, my name is Glenn Kowalski. I am the founder of Renegade News. I am super excited to be here today. And please, let me know who you are. Let me know that you're watching. Leave a comment in whatever medium that you're actually watching this on. We're live streaming to YouTube and to Facebook today. We'll be restreaming to a few other places as well in the very near future. So also, if you have any questions as I'm going through it today, it's a little bit out of sorts, as like I said, it's been one of those days. So we'll be talking about that, but just leave a message. And today we were going to talk about, why my day just kind of fell apart, and that's all coming up today on Renegade News Live. And we're back. So today, it was one of those days, for sure. How do I even start to put this? So one of the things you're going to notice as you really decide that it's time to find more freedom is that you really are your own lifeguard when it comes to living a free life. And living a free life isn't always easy. It's not always exactly what you've always wanted it to be. There are certain things that you need to do, that you need to be aware of all the time, because the system really is not your friend. It's not there to help you. It's not there to make things easier for you. In fact, most of the time, it's actively there trying to make things a lot tougher. Hey, Ginger, what's going on? Good to see you. It's really not there to tell you. So today I was at the bank, and banks are something we talk a lot about here on Renegade News, just because they're such an antiquated system. And I'm trying to purchase a piece of property. It's going to be an investment property we've been looking at for a while. And because the state takes a long time to actually do titles, we came to an arrangement with the developer to be able to get in early while we wait for the titling process to go through. But in order to do that, I need to get a letter from the bank just saying that they promise the funds are available when we say they're available. Not a big deal. I've been with the bank for about 12 years. So long story short, I go into the bank this morning. I was there for about 3 hours when finally they tell me that in order to do this, they need some kind of different kind of account than the account that I have. And in order to open it, it's going to take me another hour of banking time, but I also have to provide full financial information. I need letters from my accountants. I need letters from my company, but they can't be from me, even though I'm self-employed. So I actually have to get letters from an employee of the company to write the letter for me. And if you know how, I believe companies should work, we have mostly contractor labor. We don't have a whole lot of full-time employees. Everybody's, even the full-time, work on contracts just because it makes way more sense in our opinions. So long story short, in order to get a letter after 3 hours, I just can't get the letter. And now I have to look at other ways of doing this and working around the system, which is something you're going to find is really common in anything you do when you're moving abroad, when you're dealing with the banks. Anytime you want to keep your own privacy, you want to keep your freedom, you're going to find that you really have to find ways to work around things. And the banks really have the ultimate power. And just to give you an idea of some of the ultimate power that they have, while I was in the bank, just as I was leaving, I ran into a friend of mine. And he was there because a client of his had paid him a security deposit on a apartment that he wanted to move into. And this client had been with the bank for a while, but he hadn't really used the account that much. And so he wired his security deposit, not sure of the amount, less than a couple $1,000, I'm sure, into my friend's account, who's a realtor, and in order to cover the security deposit. Well, the banks, for some reason, thought that was suspicious, and they flagged it. So now the security deposit is not in the realtor's account, my friend's account. It's not in the new renter, the guy who wants to be the tenant. It's not in his account, and it's really nowhere. It's just kind of been frozen. But to make the story even worse, my friend who received the deposit, his entire account has been frozen now. He's trying to pay bills and he can't even pay bills because the banks have it frozen. And that's the level of control these banks have over everything we do. And it's really just insane, the type of control that they have over us. And in order to find more freedom, it's really important for us as freedom seekers and liberty seekers, and anybody who really wants to find that freedom in your life, you have to really take responsibility for your own actions. And what I mean by responsibility is it's many faceted, really. Like you have to know what the rules are in order to be able to work within them, but in the freest way possible. That's the best way I can kind of think of to sort of describe what we're trying to say and what you're trying to do when you're building independence. It's really, there's people I know and I'm not going to knock what they're doing, but they work outside the system in ways that maybe aren't legal. And I personally, I really don't have a problem with that, but if you're looking for freedom and you're going to end up in jail because of it, that's obviously not the way to find more freedom if you get locked up. So you really do have to learn to kind of take control of yourself, to take care of yourself, and find that independence to be able to work around the system. You also have to understand that you really are your own lifeguard. For example, like one of the things that we love in the freedom community is cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin it's the dream freedom money ever, if there was such a thing. I love Bitcoin. What can I say? It's awesome, but it doesn't have the same safeguards as a bank would have. If you use your credit card to buy something online, it doesn't matter if the product's delivered or not. You can complain to your credit card company. They're going to back you up and they're going to give you your money back. If something happens and you screw up or somebody steals your credit card, the bank's going to step in and they're going to help you because you're playing within the system. They're there to help you out. You're playing in crypto. That's a totally different thing where, if you lose your private keys, excuse me, they're really gone forever, and somebody can get a hold of your funds. Sorry, excuse me. You have to guard yourself. You also have to know what you have to report to the IRS and to the different tax authorities in the different places that you are. And you're the one responsible for learning that. They're not going to tell you, they're not going to come with you a warning and say, oh, you were supposed to do this. They're going to come after you if you screw up and don't handle things the way you're supposed to handle them. So that's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to know and learn how to operate within immigration systems, within different banking systems. Obviously, the problems I ran into today were because of a very stringent banking system that we have here in Panama, where the rules are very well laid out, but they're followed down to the letter, and there's just no working around them. And you also have to know and understand that if you want to work outside the system, and if you don't want to do what the state wants you to do, you're going to have to find alternatives to back up, the life that you want. For example, if right now vaccine mandates are, there's a ton of them going on around the world, depending on where you are, different levels of vaccine mandates. And in many places in Canada, my home country, you can't go into a cinema or into a bar or into a restaurant if you haven't had the vaccine. Well, that makes you responsible if you don't want to take the vaccines. And I'm not saying for or against it. I think it's a personal choice for you. But if you don't want to take that vaccine, you have to find a replacement for the theater, for the restaurants. coming down the line, they're talking about making it mandatory for food stores as well. That's already happening over in Europe. And in Canada, it's starting to happen in New Brunswick, where the food stores can actually refuse you if you haven't had a shot. Well, if you don't want to take the shot, then you have to find alternatives. You have to be able to feed yourself. And it really comes down to being independent enough that you don't have to rely on the state if the state decides they don't want to help you. And when I say state, I'm talking about the state, the bank, the sort of the mainstream system, the mainstream establishment that is the one that's trying to regulate you by helping you. And obviously, if you don't want to be regulated, you're also not going to get that help. So it's really important that you find that independence, find the responsibility, learn the things that you need to do. And then when something screws up, like you lose some Bitcoin, I've lost a bunch, I've lost an embarrassing amount. You take responsibility for it and you move on. You screw up, like I am at the bank today, you find another alternative and you work around it. You work around it that way. So it's super important that you actually do that. And but the thing is, once you've done that, the rewards that you can find and the rewards that you can get are really out of this world. What a life of freedom and liberty is, it's not a utopia by any means. It's definitely not a utopia, but the power and the control, getting that back is like this breath of fresh air. In a world where we're forced to wear masks all the time, that seems really appropriate. Where you're free to do what you want, when you want, with whomever you want, anywhere you want in the world, as long as you're not hurting anyone else. And that really is a possible goal. And it's a certainly attainable goal, provided you've learned to work around the system. And you don't have to do that in an illegal way, because if you learn the system, you're going to find the ways that you can be independent of that system to be able to do that. Dive into cryptocurrencies. That's the freedom money. It's super important. And it's super freeing when you can transfer money anywhere in the world privately and securely and safely and without chargebacks and without some bank in the middle deciding, well, we don't like this payment, so we're going to freeze your account and the person whose account that you're sending to. I mean, how insane is that? Like, I'm still kind of trying to get over that. Like, how do you do that? Like, you just arbitrarily freeze accounts, and that's certainly not the first story I've heard of that happening. It happens for all sorts of things. There's stories about people trying to go across the border with a few gold coins and having those confiscated and even being arrested for it. There's so many of these stories where your freedom's taken away because you're not playing within the system, not playing within the rules. But if you take that responsibility to learn what those rules are, there are always legal alternatives to be able to do that and to be able to find that freedom and that liberty. And once you've done that, it becomes so much more than just freedom from the state, because that self-reliance that you've built now, it makes you free from ever having to rely on anybody else ever again. You don't have to rely on a boss. You don't have to rely on a job if you know different ways to make income. If you know different ways to provide for your family, you're not trapped in the 9-to-5 rat race that so many people get themselves wrapped up in. And there's really nothing more freeing than that. What do you think? Like, what does freedom mean to you? I'm sure it doesn't mean this utopia that a lot of people who hate freedom try. Oh, well, you just want utopia. That's not what we're looking for. But we're looking to be able to take responsibility and then be able to provide anything that we want. If there's something you want, you have the means to go out there and get it because you know how to provide for yourself. You're working with cryptocurrency, and the money that's being made in the cryptocurrency markets right now, in our lives, maybe in history, I don't think there's been another asset in all of history that's brought as many average people and even impoverished people out of poverty and into extreme wealth. There's just never been an opportunity like that. And it really has been it's a once in a lifetime thing. Like cryptocurrency, and especially Bitcoin, is such a freeing. It's really a game changer, is what it is. Really, when you think about the potential that's there, it sounds a little tacky, but it can almost bring tears to your eyes, because there is so much freedom that it opens up to you. And I mean, obviously, it's not just crypto. I mean, there's so many other things. It's understanding the laws of taxation and setting up different flags. So you have flags of where you live, and flags of where your residency is and where your tax residency is, and flags of where your businesses are and where your banking is. And all of these are legal strategies that you can use depending on where you're at to find this freedom, to pay less tax, to live anywhere in the world you want. All these things are available, but all of them come down to responsibility and taking responsibility. And that really is the price of freedom. You can't have freedom and you can't have liberty if you don't take responsibility for your actions. It's as simple as that. If you're not going to take responsibility for actions, first of all, you better hope to hell the state's going to be there to back you up and to protect you, because somebody's going to have to pick your ass up when you screw up. If you're not going to do it yourself, somebody has to be there, and that means the state, that means the establishment. That means a boss and a job, and it means all of those things. So I can't really state the importance of that enough, is that once you accept the fact that the freedom does mean responsibility, and that is the price that you have to pay, and it's a price that you're willing to pay. And I mean, I can introduce you to hundreds, maybe thousands of people who have found true freedom, and they're all going to tell you the same thing. They've all had horror stories along the way. They've all been screwed over because they screwed up. They've all made mistakes that had cost them money. They've all made sacrifices that they wouldn't have had to make if they had worked within the system, without that 9-to-5 American dream system that we're all taught. Go to work, drive through traffic a couple hours, as you commute, go to work your 9-to-5, come home, watch Desperate Housewives on TV, do that over and over again, maybe taking 2 weeks of vacation a year. And you do that over and over again for 40 or 45 years. And then you hopefully live the good life when you retire, which, we're all on borrowed time here. So, who wants to wait for that? So freedom is the other end of that scale. It's being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, anytime you want, without ever hurting somebody else, because you don't have to. And it's doing it because you want to. And it's doing it because you want to take that responsibility for yourself and for your life and for your family and for your finances and for your health and for your security. And all those little pieces, if you don't leave it to yourself, if you don't leave it to others, and you just take it internally, take those things to heart, and really just dive in. I think it's really available to anyone. And one thing I want to do, crypto, as I said earlier, crypto is one of the most important keys to what we've done. And I've actually put together a brand new training. It actually comes out in a couple of days on actually getting started with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And it's framed in a way of getting started where you're operating cryptocurrency just like it's your bank. So the banking system is something we've always grown up with. It's something that we understand. And even though the crypto system is better and it's certainly more freeing, by mapping your experiences that you already have with the bank, by mapping those experiences you're going to find a much easier time to learn crypto and learn how to use Bitcoin. So this step-by-step workshop, we're going to talk about how to actually create your own private bank account and your own private bank. So it's even a step better than that. So your own private bank and banking account, right from how to actually buy your first Bitcoin, how to use it, how to send it to others, how to get paid in Bitcoin, how to swap your Bitcoin for other cryptocurrencies if there's some utility or some coin that you have a lot of faith in that you think the market's going to go crazy in. I know people who have spent $4,000 on a coin and become millionaires overnight on that. So we're going to talk about that. We're then going to talk about how to actually earn interest on your Bitcoin, just like you would in a bank, except with decent APIs or APYs rather than the lousy interest rates that banks are paying today. And we're even going to talk about how to get a mortgage or a loan on that crypto so that you can invest in things like real estate or your business or anything else without actually having to sell your crypto. You can find out more about that workshop at Renegade News Online. And I just see this link that I put up as wrong. So the correct link is renegadenewsonline.com/live. So I apologize for that. Again, it's renegadenewsonline.com/live. And that'll give you some more information about the workshop. And just before I close out today, I want to talk about really what my favorite quote is. And I'm going to close with my favorite quote. And that the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is a rebellion. And that fits in so much what I've been talking about today in the price of freedom, because one of the things you're going to find is once you become free and once you start really searching for that life of freedom and liberty, the things that you do, I mean, the dinners you take out, the people that you hang around with, it will actually be seen as an act of rebellion, but that's what makes it awesome. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Just remember, the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. So I'm going to see you really soon again. The next time, like I said, we're going to be doing these once a week. We're going to be talking about different things from current events to opinion to crypto to freedom topics. We're going to have some interviews. It's going to be really exciting. I look forward to seeing you again, and I'll be watching for you. I'll talk to you soon.